Once it's in, I love it. But
Nice, is it?
Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're looking at the funniest and most distracting accidental innuendos on British TV.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Why did you choose a beaver?
I dressed up once as a beaver.
Number 10. Delicious Steak, Saturday Kitchen. Cooking shows are rife with opportunities for innuendo. Look no further than Nigella Lawson's storied career making risque comments about trifles and soufflés. But it wasn't James Martin's intention to say something lewd after watching an old clip of Rick Stein giving a roast pork recipe.
Delicious looking dick from... Sorry about that.
Rather than compliment Stein's dish, he said this, and the entire studio devolved.
Delicious looking dish from Rick there, pork, yeah. This week's masterclass is something that...
It's well known that the wine flows rather liberally on the Saturday Kitchen set, despite being filmed in the morning, so we're not surprised that a Freudian slip like that would get such a reaction. Even the crew lost it, though Martin tried to swiftly move on.
I do apologise for that. So what we're going to do now...
Number 9. Milkman. Good Morning Britain.
Can I just quickly do mine, first of all? There's
yes,
a
of
reason
course.
why.
Sorry. It's not about you for a moment, it's about her.
Not a lot of people still have a milkman these days, which is a shame, because as we all know, they can offer you far more than just bottles of milk. At least that's according to Kate Garraway, during this pandemic-era broadcast of Good Morning Britain, where they were trying to spread some positivity while we were still locked down. She gave props to her devoted milkman, Mick.
Mick, my milkman, who has just been amazing. He's absolutely just kept me going because he'll leave little notes saying, do you need anything extra other than the milk? You know, like sort of... No, I don't!
Of course, everybody knows the implications the milkman carries, especially when he offers to bring plenty of little extras to your front door. It's amazing that Kate didn't see this coming.
I mean, like bread, butter, or orange juice that he also supplies.
Yeah. The extra.
He needs a little smiley face.
I bet he does. And you still answering the door in your dressing gown and those fluffy slippers.
Number 8. Gardening. Loose women.
he's mowing my lawn there, you see. I like November.
The thing is,
look at that! Look at that!
I've got a hedge that is really wild, so I'm Mr. Hedgeman.
In this item, they were debating whether it's better to have a proper front garden or pave over it, with some groups advocating for a return to natural gardens. But because this was the Loose Women panel, things immediately took a lewd turn when Colleen Nolan was asked about her own gardening regimen.
So what state's your front garden in, Colleen?
Nothing that a little trim wouldn't cure.
There are many more inappropriate moments from Loose Women, since that's the programme's bread and butter. In other incidents, they've talked about strapping men coming around to mow their lawns and trim their hedges.
So Jamelia's front garden's in perfect order and Colleen's needs a bit of a trim. I think we know who we are. What do you think? Stop it now.
But when you're tuning in to ITV in the middle of the day, you expect a group of leery women talking about being yanked.
Oh, so my flat's come down.
Number 7. Altogether, passionately QI.
I mean, I'm happy to do it as long as I can go on top. I think you should speak to Josh.
As long as you've got a cushion, I'm fine with it.
For this tricky question, they were asked to reenact the famous opening scene of the classic film Altogether Passionately, which none of them had heard of. Going by the name, though, some suggestions were made.
Is there an Italian phrase for the sound of music?
Apparently that's what they called it, Altogether Passionately.
Oh, no. That sounds like a film you wouldn't watch on a train.
It turns out that this was the Italian title of The Sound of Music, which leads to an anecdote from Sandy Toksvig about a time she met Julie Andrews.
Do you know, I was once lucky enough to meet Julie Andrews. It's the only time in my entire life I've been completely speechless.
Because she wouldn't shut up.
She just been asking me what my favourite things were. It's very annoying.
Cue this even more ridiculous impression from Alan, in which he presents his imagined version of how that conversation with Julie Andrews went. Instantly, Sandy was crying, as was Susan Carlman on the other side of the studio.
Do you like them tied up with string? I bet you do, girl. I bet you do. What's the deal? What's the female deal? Come on, leave me alone.
Number 6. Eggy Pipe, Taskmaster.
It cracked in the tube, actually.
Did it?
Yeah.
In this extended outtake from Taskmaster's 10th series, it was Catherine Parkinson's attempt to get a raw egg into the frying pan in the middle of the derelict warehouse they were filming in. They all did badly, but at least Catherine was bad in a more entertaining way, though the clip of them reacting in the studio was significantly trimmed down.
Well, I guess it looked like...
Oh, sponge.
Yes.
Cool, thanks.
It's a bit like...
Just sort of dribbling out.
It looked like spunk coming out of a big old...
Oh, lovely.
After watching the footage, everybody knew what it looked like, but nobody wanted to say it. Even Greg Davies, who couldn't keep it together. It took Alex Horne a minute to work it out, but when he did, the situation deteriorated even more.
Using an egg and some black piping. Who can make the biggest spunky
Who can give us a
Congratulations, Catherine.
Thank you, yeah. I'd have won.
Number 5. Tiny Thing, The Graham Norton Show.
But we now do have to... Oh, no, you can go occasionally to an astronomically expensive restaurant where you can't really talk because they need to describe the tiny dish.
Britain's favourite Australian pop star Kylie Minogue was back on the red sofa to talk to Graham Norton, and things started off poorly when he forced everyone to listen to David Mitchell rant about how much he hates posh restaurants. Graham then asked Kylie this loaded question, stunning her to silence.
I don't want to speak for you, Kylie. I think you enjoy the long description of the tiny thing.
Excuse me?
What did you say?
Stephen Graham, next to her, couldn't believe his ears, though Norton feigned innocence. Unlike David Mitchell, Kylie and Stephen were both in favour of fine dining experiences with elaborate menus, even if the question was couched in filth.
As mentioned by David just now.
OK.
Yeah. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Yes.
You do like...
Yes. Well, yeah, I like...
Yeah.
I like the description.
At least it was all more appropriate than the time he showed pictures of her waxwork, though. Number 4. Sausage in the hole, this morning.
First of all, I'm not making toad in a hole. This is sausage in a hole. It's not a toad in a hole.
Gino D'Acampo is an innuendo machine, to such an extent that ITV itself tried to cancel him over it in early 2025. But before that, he regularly went viral for his quips on This Morning, notably this one, in which he put his own Italian spin on the classic British dish toad in the hole. To start, he refused to call it toad in the hole, which, to be fair, does sound unappetising if you're from a different country, calling it by a new name that he preferred.
And what makes the sausage bit Italian?
Is thicker, is tastier, and it's got fennel.
Except that this new name sounded far more inappropriate. For once, it seemed like Gino wasn't bringing innuendo into things on purpose, and that this was a genuine miscommunication. It still broke Holly Willoughby, though, obviously.
Does toad offend you?
No, but sausage in the hole sounds fantastic. You go home and the wife says, what do you... I want the sausage in the hole. That rock and roll. Let's do that.
Number 3. Never seen a beaver, BBC Breakfast.
Building flood defences can be complex and expensive. We've talked about it in the past on the programme.
It was a wholesome morning on the BBC Breakfast sofa when John Kay, Naga Munchetti and Mike Bushell were chatting before the new headlines came in as John introduced a report about flood defences. As soon as he said the word beavers, you could tell that Naga was struggling to keep it together.
Beavers.
They're controversial with farmers who say that they damage fields.
And then, after the report, John revealed that he'd never actually seen a beaver. Naga was surprised that it was so rare to see one, and John swiftly tried to move on, with them both trying hard to keep it together while they read the news about climate change.
Do you remember that moment?
What moment?
When you saw your first one?
I've never seen one. That's why Roger was so excited.
They're rare.
Yes. Let's move on. It's 20 to 10. Let's stay with the environment.
Maybe one day you will see a beaver, John. Number 2. Beavers again. The Great British Bake Off. Another beaver incident. This time, Prue Leith was the one responsible. While talking to a baker about her beaver-themed cake, Prue admitted that she was also woefully unprepared where the animals were concerned.
I'm not even sure I know what a beaver looks like, so...
Stop it. Quite sort of shapely. A boozy beaver, that is the best.
The jokes didn't stop when Nikki brought the beaver up to be judged at the end, with the entire tent now witnessing Prue as she stumbled.
So, Nikki, tell us about your beaver.
It was a miracle they managed to get through tasting the beaver at all, and apparently, after all that, it was too dry. A soggy bottom might be bad, but isn't a dry beaver far worse? You decide.
Her beaver looked amazing, but it was bone dry.
Yeah, I don't like dry beavers. Yeah.
Number 1, willy wanging. This morning.
Have you ever hit anything that you've been throwing at?
Funnily enough, I've never willy-wanged since then.
Of course, it's another Holly Willoughby blunder at number 1. This time, she and Ben Shepherd were talking about the age-old British sport of welly-wanging, where people lob a Wellington boot as far as they can. Holly, however, misspoke, despite being warned earlier by Ben of the exact dangers of doing an item about welly-wanging in the first place.
I, however, haven't stopped.
This came during a segment where they were reminiscing about a past welly-wanging attempt on This Morning, when Holly broke the studio's prized golden pineapple prop. Despite being a natural welly-wanger, she never reattempted it, and that's probably for the best.
Sam and Jack and I went welly-wanging with Will, and Will was welly-wanging.
Yeah, it's not easy to
and
say.
It's not easy. And I said, don't make that mistake, Holly.
Moving on.
Let us know in the comments what your favourite telly innuendos are.
Oh, so my flat's come down. Oh,
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo UK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.